Hey, I had this game marked as interesting, and I think it might be worthwhile sharing it with everyone just to talk about why I think this game is interesting, and maybe we can all learn something in the process. This is just a normal game against Wobbling Wobbler, one of the best players in the world. Like, she's really, really strong, being in tournament finals. I don't know if she's won one, but definitely has the ability to win them. We start the game with, honestly, good birds, but the wrong birds for this point of the game. Like, we really want to see like birds that will help us draw cards or some kind of engine components. We really got nothing here, like no added resources, but a lot of high value birds. Like the gear, typically not a bird I like. I don't think this bird's that good, but bonus cards are always good. White-faced ibis, very expensive but big points. We got rodentologist, I mean that plus great horned owl is a must keep. Willow tit, useful caching bird, but again, it's not getting us plus resources because it's not. Which, what I'm trying to say is, none of these birds are the right bird. I want to get better stuff. I want things that I can actually generate game value from, and currently we don't really have a choice here. In the tray, there is the Sapsucker and Princess Stephanie's Astrapia, and those might be interesting to us as well as this hummingbird. Hummingbird could be interesting. As you can see, we're going to take the high point option. White-faced ibis. Willow tit probably could also work in this situation, but I don't know. We really want a wetlands bird. We can't really pass up on this horned owl, and the Kia might be important. Are we going to take Willow tit? I don't know. I think we should keep the white-faced ibis or the fish crow or something. We need a wetlands option. So, as you can see, this is a bit of a tricky starting hand because they're good things, but not great things. And we also, the other thing is, sometimes in the situation you get like a one-cost wetlands bird, and maybe that's the keep. You just keep the one-cost wetlands bird, throw it into the wetlands, and go away. So we don't actually keep a wetlands bird, which is very surprising to me. Obviously, I'm taking a big gamble here because you need cards to draw. So you need a wetlands bird to really get effective draws, and it does scream to me, especially with the food that we've kept. We are going to take probably Steph and probably Sapsucker. In fact, I know we take Steph because that's the whole reason this game was interesting. I think this is a situation where we have pretty decent stuff in hand, and if we can just get it into the game, we're probably going to do okay. So we want to remove as many blockers as possible to making that happen. So I think we're going to take the hummingbird first up, and thinking about taking Steph here, but it's also not something my opponent's likely to take first up, so we can take a random, take a hedge our bet on something better. The spoonbill is actually a significant upgrade over the hummingbird, getting those extra cards. However, I don't think we're going to get that in this game. But yes, Princess Steph is not a bird that people commonly think of as a very powerful bird, but I actually have had pretty good results with it. I think it's like surprisingly decent. So we're gonna get Anna's hummingbird into the game, which is nice. It gives us a little bit of extra food, which we will probably need, especially if we go Steph first. And we'll just go from there. What I'm thinking is, at this position right now, if we pick up Steph and Spoonbill, Steph allows us to play Spoonbill, and Spoonbill synergizes quite well with the rodentologist. So we can kind of start building a game plan that kind of is just challenging our opponent and saying, all right, we're both going to get eggs here. I have better birds than you, and I will win the game. And I think that's like the interesting thing about co-op. You always need to be thinking, who benefits more from the co-op power here? Do I benefit more, or does my opponent benefit more? My opponent has a Chimney Swift. You don't play Chimney Swift unless you have garbage. So that says to me that my opponent doesn't have a very strong hand. Now, yes, giving them eggs is going to allow them to do a lot of stuff, and it will allow them to play birds, but it says to me that the cards I'm holding are stronger than theirs. So as long as I can play them, I'm probably winning this game. They don't have great searching power. Let's give it a go. So Steph can come into the game, we can take food, we can get Spoonbill into the game. Suddenly we're doing pretty well. A lot of Wingspan. Here comes European Turtledove. Again, not a bird you want to play first up. Sometimes you want to play it because it's, you get the egg, but it's not super interesting. Griffin Vulture is interesting for us. We'll take that. We'll continue to accumulate food from this hummingbird. But in my brain, that's what I'm thinking. really wish I kept that white-faced ibis now, because the Griffin Vulture would have been really great with that. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, who is benefiting more from this co-op at this time? Like, my opponent playing kind of mediocre birds. We've got good stuff. Let's try and remove as many barriers as possible to getting that into the game. So, with that in mind, I think at this point we definitely should be starting to play some birds and trying to get things going. The Chimney Swift is actually quite a nice bird here. It's helpful for 3 of the 4 ends of rounds. In particular, getting birds in one row, obviously just move it into the row and get 2 birds. Birds in forest, just move it to the forest. And eggs in bowl, well, Steph is going to allow my opponent to qualify that for free. So when using Steph, I think the big things to keep in mind is how many egg end of rounds are there, and how many ends of rounds am I going to allow my opponent to qualify for without them having to do anything to do that. And in this game, it's only 1. It's only this last end of round, which I don't mind so much. Like, if you lose an end of round, it's only 3 points. Who cares? If it allows me to get all my power birds out, then that's a really good sign for me. My opponent plays Mandarin Duck. A really great searching bird, really good power there. But yeah, again, it suggests that my opponent doesn't have the best hand. They're still trying to assemble the right pieces, so maybe Steph will help them play the good birds, maybe it won't. We don't know. But we will get the Spoonbill into the game. Like I said, the Spoonbill is going to significantly improve our draw capabilities, and I don't usually like going out to column 2 in the wetlands this early on. I usually think this is a mistake. However, in this particular instance, I think it's okay. And it's because, 1, I don't have to worry about eggs so much, so I don't have to worry about building out a column as fast as I can, because the Astrapia will keep things going, basically. Second reason is the power just synergizes so well with my bonus card of Rodentologist, so being able to find more Rodentologist birds and kind of get more value out of that bonus card, I think that's working quite well in this game. I think, like, really the critical point here is that with the egg source already coming from the forest, I'm not worried about playing the Spoonbill. I don't need to worry. I can very easily get my forest birds into the game. There's no concern with that, and I think typically that is a problem. Typically you are having to lay, just take a raw grasslands action to get your birds into the game or anything like that, and this time we don't really have to worry about that. And I think that's a really important lesson, I think. At least the way that I like to play the game is really thinking how each egg is going to get played and used, and whether or not egg is going to be a constricting resource here. For us, we are, like I said, we're laying down the gauntlet. We are saying, I'm going to have better birds than you. I'm going to win the game through having better birds. Brambling and Tragopan come up, which is, again, another... they're both very strong forest birds. I think the Brambling, absolutely, even in round 2, certainly worth playing. It's an 8-point bird if you play it in round 2, not to mention the intangible value of cycling cards. And the Satyr Tragopan, you have to take that. I think getting eggs in the forest is very, very strong. But it also means that I don't really care too much about the Astrapia anymore. Like, I mean, Princess Steph, now if I'm giving my opponent the card, then if I'm giving my opponent an egg, sorry, who cares? It just means that they're already going to have eggs from the Satyr Tragopan. Like, who cares? I'm not really helping him that much. And here's Spoonbill going to work. We pick up Eastern Imperial Eagle. Again, another fantastic Rodentologist bird. That's that Royal Spoonbill synergy coming in. I'm very surprised that the Brambling was left in the tray. That's something that I would have very much expected to be taken. However, we will stand to benefit from it, because, again, I think Brambling is definitely worth playing at this point. 8 points for 2 food is certainly fine by me. But it's really the intangible value of being able to cycle cards, right? Being able to see more stuff, tuck stuff under the bird. And in some ways it helps even things up against this Mandarin Duck a little bit. We also have Yellow Rump Warbler. More cycling. I mean, we're only probably going to use it like 5 or 6 times in this game. But again, with these cycling birds, sometimes it's not just about the raw point value you get from them, it's the efficiency you get from being able to cycle away a bad card and bring in a better card. And that in itself is just like intangibly valuable, especially in the world of Satyr Tragopan, where we're going to be getting a bunch of junk cards from our opponent. The Yellow Rump Warbler really effectively allows us to kind of trade up, find better materials, and work with that. And if you assess the game state right now, I think I'm very happy with where we are. I think we've got a very clear game plan. We've got some very high quality birds to be playing. We're playing heavy in the forest, which is really good for Kia. We've got an answer to this Tragopan. Like we're pretty content with everything actually. Fun fact: that Eurasian tree creeper is the only bird in my profile that I have not played in a game yet. I've been meaning to do a 1v1, like a AI game or something, just to play the bird so I can complete it, but I don't know, I can't be bothered. It really is just such a bad bird. But yeah, there's the yellow-rumped warbler already providing value, so yes, we get the point on the tuck, but we also pick up king rail. We may or may not play the king rail, but another bonus bird, always helpful to have in hand. Gives us another option compared to the adjutant, which could be interesting. And now Tui comes into the game, so that might be a reason why. Actually, no, they didn't know about the yellow-rumped warbler when we played it, so I picked it up, so. But it does mean my opponent's got an incredibly powerful forest. And also, they're likely to win this end of round, because Chimley Swift is a very strong bird. At this point, we have one small problem, and that is we need to get to the 4th column in our forest. So this is where we will have to take a singular egg action, just so we can get our cards into the game. A little bit annoying, but it is what it is. That is the consequence of playing a bird that only lays eggs once. We could use the forest twice and give out 2 eggs to do that, but at that point, we would not have any time left in the round, and we would lose our nectar, which we don't want to do. But yeah, really at this point, we're thinking we have fantastic birds. If we just play them, we probably win this game. It might be close, obviously. My opponent is accumulating good stuff too. They're not a bad player. But we're probably thinking that, you know, here, we're throwing down the gauntlet, right? We are saying that our hand is better than your hand. Prove me wrong. And, you know, I've said it a couple times already in this video, but that's where these co-op powers, like the Astrapia, like the Hummingbird, like the Himalayan Monal, all these kind of interesting co-op birds, that's being able to correctly assess when they're helping you more than your opponent. Such an important skill, I think, to turn kind of mediocre situations into good situations. And here we go, we're gonna discard our food, because we're gonna have so much food in this game, and that will give us enough food to play probably the Great Horned Owl, and we'll call that a good end of round 2. Yeah, no, we're very happy with what's going on here, I think, at least for the time being. Yep, we would love to have played this Griffin Vulture, but the timing hasn't quite worked out on that, which is unfortunate. I think Griffin Vulture with our bonus card is crazy good, which is why we picked it up originally. But just the sequencing of everything and the prioritization, I mean, we could have done Griffin Vulture instead of Yellow-Rumped Warbler, and then, you know, Brambling plus Horned Owl or something, but I feel like the resulting forest wouldn't have been as good, I think. For us now, if we can never use our wetlands again, that is a big victory for us. Really try and stick to stay in the forest, stay laying eggs, stay playing birds realistically. Like, we will get the Eastern Imperial Eagle into the game and just, you know, see how we go, rack up a couple bonus cards and go from there. Interestingly, there's Willow Tit still sitting in our hand, not something that's likely to be played at this point. So again, probably should have kept that that Ibis instead. Even if we were planning on playing the Hummingbird, just the value of that Ibis is pretty high compared to this Willow Tit. Especially if we're thinking we're going to play Princess Steph, because Steph is you know, pretty high base value, so we'd have to use the Tit many times before it would be valuable. To be more valuable. But yeah. So we're getting still more and more junk cards. Brambling is also great with junk cards. We can cycle things around and figure things out. Maybe we want to take the Lyrebird here. I think we do keep it. I don't think we play it though. The Minivet can definitely go. We don't have enough space to use that, but Grasshopper Sparrow or Scrubfowl, either of these can go, honestly. They're very, very, very unlikely to be played. The Lyrebird is the definitely more interesting bird of that bunch, but still not very interesting. Unlikely that it gets played unless something dramatically changes for us. At this point, we need to figure out what we're going to do. So we would love to see more rodentologist birds. So if we don't see some from the yellow-rumped warbler, we probably end up playing a bird into the wetlands and flipping the tray once, just to see what we can do there. You can see that I'm just counting the food, making sure we've got stuff that we need. We'll keep searching. We find Cooper's hawk, which is a rodentologist bird, but probably a bit late to be played at this point. Now we look to play something in the wetlands, most likely. Either a king rail or this adjutant. Either of them would be fine. I think... it's always interesting making these decisions between like these guys. So adjutant and king rail are both kind of bad. Mostly because the king rail is like pretty low base points but quite expensive. And, you know, you're getting, 3 to 2 points from the bird after paying egg cost plus the bonus card is usually not that good. But adjutant, like, we have no idea what our opponent is doing. Our opponent isn't spamming bonus cards or anything like that, so it's not really good to rely on that to kind of score points. So kind of conflicted there. So I could go either way on this. So we're gonna play Eastern Imperial Eagle first. I think that's totally fine. We want to play this at some point. There's no concern about that. Just trading away as many low-value cards as we can. Normally, you'd try and reserve Eastern Imperial Eagle for later in the game. But I think in this particular situation, with birds with tucked cards being an end of round, with plenty of junk cards getting thrown our way, we don't really need to be too concerned about having enough cards to cycle. We just will. And so we can just go from there realistically. Not getting too much nectar from this feeder, and that's okay. Red Knot would have been nice to pick up. Nice little bonus bird. We'll let it finally get cycled away, and still not finding any rodentologist birds, but that's fine by me. So yeah, I would think at this point, there's really two paths. Like, you either play in the wetlands, or you play in the grasslands with the Kia. Might be a bit early for the Kia. I think playing one of these bonus birds is probably the better choice. This Ferungus Hawk could be really good with us. That might tempt us either into taking food, but the Golden Eagle also comes up, so now we have to go. Now we have to draw cards. So this will be our last draw turn, 100%. And that Golden Eagle and that Hawk look very, very nice. And with the food that we've currently accumulated, we can just slam Golden Eagle and be happy with life. Like, this looks quite nice. Oh, we're gonna go this way. Okay, that's also fine. I'm a little bit surprised we're going this path, but maybe I've done the math and calculated. We do not have time in this game to play everything that we want to play. There are only 7 turns left in the game after this turn. We have 3 birds that we want to play. The Kia, the King Rail, or the Adjutant, and this Golden Eagle. So maybe adding the Ferungus Hawk might have been a bit too much. It could have happened. Could have been plausible. But it's also a nice point scoring action for us. We get the Tuck on the Horndowl, we get the Cycle on the Warble, we get the egg from Steph. We do want to accumulate as many eggs as possible, just so we can qualify the end of round while still having enough eggs to play everything. Play the Golden Eagle into the grasslands. This is maybe a little bit surprising, given that I just talked all this much about being able to flip the tray and grab birds. But like I said, we're not going to draw anymore on this game. We have all the birds that we can possibly play already. Even if something crazy comes up like Philippine Eagle, we're probably not going to pick that up because it's still not that good at this point. It's very late in the game. And if something really truly amazing comes up in the tray in the next round, we can just take food and pick it up with the Warbler. That's, again, that intangible value coming from these cyclers, that you can just pick stuff up without having to commit your draw action. So it's very, very, very strong. But yeah, looks like we've got a pretty clear game plan from here. We're going to play this Kia, we're going to play one of the bonus birds, and maybe both of the bonus birds. We'll just happen to see where we're going. And maybe our plan gets updated if there happens to be a good bird that comes up in the tray at some point. So we're going to play King Rail. I think that's fair. My opponent isn't playing that many bonus cards, so we really don't know what we're going to find. We get Ethologist. That is a pretty good find. We're not going to complain about that. We can throw Kia into the forest to get 2 points off of that. So that's quite a nice little nifty find. certainly not unhappy about that. Definitely one of the stronger bonus cards that we could have found. And then we'll go with Brambling, see what Brambling can dig us up. European Roller is actually kind of interesting. I hope I don't throw that away. Yeah, we'll keep European Roller. Yeah, okay, so European Roller is a bad bird. Okay, don't get me wrong, bad bird. However, if we are going to play Adjutant, there is a world where like maybe Behaviorist comes into question or something. And if we're going to do Kia in the forest to get the extra point of Pathologist, if we do European Roller in the grasslands, we get 2 white powers in those slots. Not useful for the first column, but is useful for the 4th column. Because in the 4th column, we intend to play the Adjutant, which would get us 3 points off Behaviorist. So, a little bit of a hedge. It's also a Rodentologist bird, so 4 points. Not fantastic by any stretch of the imagination, but there's an angle, right? You can imagine why we might want to play this bird at some point. But otherwise, we've got the Kia. We don't need to commit the Kia necessarily into any habitat yet. We can see if we can use it to flip a Nectar or make an intelligent decision somewhere. So that's always a possibility. We also have to keep in mind the end of round. It is eggs and bowl. We will probably be laying eggs once in this game, so we ought to time that correctly. Probably want to play another Grasslands bird before doing anything. Maybe that's just going to be the European Roller. We can get that into the game right now. It only costs 1 egg. And then we have access to this column 4 egg action, which maybe everything just works out because of that. A couple of things kind of working together. Yeah. We could play the Rock Pigeon, but I think that'd be a horrific mistake. I think it's certainly not worth playing. Too late in the game, not enough points available. And really, we don't have anything else. Our only other choice here is we take food first, we cycle away with the Warbler, see if we can find something better. If we can, great. If not, so be it. And go from there. Black Skimmers come up, not the most interesting bird. This Black Redstart is like moderately interesting. It is a couple points off Pathologist. It is, however, very expensive. Maybe not the bird for today, I think. Maybe I should have considered that a little bit more. However, I think that's still an acceptable outcome. Yeah, it would have been 4 points to play it versus the 5 of the Roller. Plus the Roller uses less food, so marginally better. The only advantage is that it would have qualified us for the end of round automatically. So, given that we probably want to take eggs anyway in this game, we probably don't need to stress too much about it. We got 4 turns remaining, we have 3 birds to play, and we need to take eggs once. So everything is timed out beautifully. We are going to play the Roller, surely. This is like the only time where this bird is actually maybe useful. We will indeed play the Roller. We'll keep and hold the Nectar. Keeping Nectar in hand until as late as possible is usually the play you want to make. Keep your opponent guessing, especially when you have when you're going last in this end of round. When you're going last, it's really nice to be able to kind of put the Nectar where it needs to go. Our opponent has spent no Nectar, so we do kind of want to play it in the wetlands. Even though it'll make paying for the Kia a little bit awkward, it will allow us to flip the wetlands, so that is okay. But first of all, we were going to lay eggs. We can throw a card for that. We don't have any more need for excess cards. We want to turn as many of those into points as possible, and we can do that simply by throwing a card. But yeah, not every day you get to see the European Roller played. Like I said, pretty terrible bird, but with Rodentologist, and maybe we can find Behaviorist with Adjutant. There are a couple Behavioristy columns there. You can see column 1 and column 2 look a little bit Behavioristy. It does make me think that maybe it's worthwhile considering. Throw away this Muskduck, never going to get played. We'll just lay all on our Cup Nest, and the Golden Eagle does indeed get a hit. And that is why we played it into the grasslands and not the wetlands. Additionally, we also had have 4 wetlands birds to play, so really it was quite a straightforward decision at the end of the day. But that one tuck on the Golden Eagle, that's, job well done. No concerns there. Maybe if we'd taken the Faringus Hawk, maybe it would have been better than this Roller, but I think the way that this game has evolved, taking food was probably the more correct decision at the end of the day, because we are a little bit constrained on food, and making sure we can get food into the game, used on this Kia, used on this adjutant, is pretty important. So now we have some final decisions to be made here. We get another crappy card from the Dragapan, which is fine. And now we play this adjutant. And are we going to commit the Nectar? We are not going to commit the Nectar, which is interesting. We might have been worth a thought to play the use the Nectar there and flip their Wetlands Nectar, but maybe my opponent took Nectar in that turn and it wouldn't have mattered. And adjutant actually gets us the extra points on Ethologist as well. I didn't realize that, so it's what it is. Oh yeah, my opponent's got 3 Nectar. It's pretty likely they're going to put that into the Wetlands here, just by virtue of the alignment of their birds and the fact they've got 3 Nectar. Usually a pretty good tell. And our opponent will win this end of round. That's okay. We kind of knew that going into it. That's one of the consequences of playing Princess Steph. You will be giving out eggs, so egg end of rounds are usually not in your favor. So it's really important that if you are using this bird, that you're not you're not spending it, not using it heavily when there's lots of egg end of rounds. My opponent gets Spotted Owl into the game, which is good for us. More bonus cards to pull from. We'll see what the Kia can find us. And Forest Data Analyst, sure, whatever, we'll take that. Not fantastic. But the only good news here is that we didn't lose the Wetlands Nectar, so maybe we should have played the Adjutant with the Nectar. It would have meant that we wouldn't have found Forest Data Analyst with the Kia, though. It's just a little bit of an unfortunate outcome, but you know, everything kind of worked out. But yeah, I think everything's really come together for us. We've scored pretty well, and I think if we had to reflect on how much the co-op helped, I think definitely the co-op was far more tilted to us than our opponent in this game. I think if we didn't have Princess Steph, we would have been really struggling to play these birds. Like, really, really struggling. We wouldn't have been able to play with the same velocity that we were able to, and I think bird for bird, we're probably doing alright. We'll see what the end result is, obviously, but we'll see how we go. Our last 2 points off the Brambling. Score, and obviously the score is looking pretty healthy at 112 already. Our opponent has to play something with his Magpie Lark. We'll see what their scary bird is. And hopefully it's not too scary. Hopefully it's not Benelli. I mean, it could be. Who knows? We'll see what bonus cards they've got with this Adjutant, and hopefully they've got a good one for us. Maybe Falconer. Falconer would be pretty nice. Platform Builder, that'd be pretty cool. We'll see what we can find, though. But yeah, we've kind of thought ahead. We do have, you know, tried to qualify as many columns as possible. Or tried to qualify as many bonus cards as possible with this kind of European roller. It didn't end up mattering because the Kia would have filled that slot anyway, but it doesn't really matter. You just do what you can. Try and make the best moves available. Keep your options open. My opponent's taking a while here. Wonder what they're deciding on. They have Endangered Species Protector. We will 100% take that. That is the value of this Adjutant. It helps neutralize our opponent's good cards like that. So, as we can see, bird points. They took a massive lead on bird points, but we'll take the lead right back after a big haul on the bonus cards. Strong bonus cards, Rodentologist, Endangered Species. Very even coming into all of these. Tough cards is where we were strong. We just nudge ahead on that, and we end up taking the game 125 to 121. And what kind of... They played the Australian Raven as their last bird. Unfortunate on Breeding Manager. But yeah, my opponent had a really, really strong game as well. As you can see, they had Forest Eggs through this Dragapan, a Tui that gave them card access through cycling by copying my Yellow Rump Warbler. Another really, really strong play. So it's not like my opponent didn't have strong plays. They certainly found them by the end of the game and really got a lot of value out of them, as you would expect from someone of Warbler's caliber. But our humble little board over here was able to just nudge ahead. And I think really the key thing about this game was Steph, right? It was challenging my opponent to say, I have better birds than you, and I think I'm going to win if I play them. and I don't think you will win if you play them. And it got very close, right? My opponent had some very, very strong stuff towards the end and scored incredibly well. I mean, they were sitting on Endangered Species Protector of all things, so of course they're going to score very highly, but, you know, we had good bonus cards of our own. There's their board again. I want to see their board. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of high-value birds, and yeah, I was able to make all the use of these extra foods that they were getting from the sapsucker. Just, yeah, you know, good play overall, and maybe a different bonus card changes things, but... So 2 things, other than the co-op lesson, I think also just remember that co-op is double-edged, right? Coming into it, we were... using Princess Steph was basically going to guarantee us losing this last end of round. That almost ended up mattering. Like, our opponent won 3 of the 4 end of rounds. This Chimney Swift did an excellent job. I think it's a very modest play, but in theory, that is a 12-point bird because it won 3... it contributed to winning 3 of the 4 end of rounds. So you give it a little bit of extra credit as a result. But yeah, overall, very, very strong play from my opponent. And yeah, definitely a close one. Definitely a fun one. I really think this is quite interesting. I think ultimately, like, as risky as Steph was, I would not be able to have played all of these birds without getting that bird into the game. So I really think, despite the risk and despite the co-op and despite all the advantages it might have offered to my opponent, that it was integral to winning this game, and I couldn't have done it without it. So that's why I thought this game was interesting. I think it's a really valuable look at how you might use a co-op bird, a very powerful co-op bird like Steph, in a 1v1 game where, you know, all conventional wisdom says you probably shouldn't do it. But I think in this particular instance, it worked out quite well. Definitely not a bird you should play all the time. Definitely not, don't get me wrong. But if you think you've got the initiative and got the stronger cards in hand and can get more value out of the bird, I think it's worth going for. And if you learn nothing else, take that lesson away. Alright, we'll see you in the next one.